What's up, Emperors? I don't really know what we're going to talk about today. So, the message that I got today was, Quiana, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. So, I don't know. We're just going to keep going. Yeah, we're going to just keep going. So, I don't know, last night I was on Instagram and I had got it's like a friend's suggestion, and I had saw one of my little brother's Instagram page, and when I clicked on it, it was a picture of him and my mom, and it said, "Rest in peace, Mom." So, and today's, I don't know what today's date. I don't even know what today's date is. Let me see. What's today's date? I know I'm a little off. I should know what today's date is right now, but I don't. The 22nd. That was my night. And it said something about you fought hard, so I had to the thing was I kind of went on a walk, and then it was just I don't know. I wasn't sad. I wasn't anything. I was just processing it. And I just started trying to find other people's pages to see about it. And then I figured it probably was new news. I saw another one of my siblings' pages, how kind of all my siblings were together at the hospital with her, and with my stepdad and stuff, and that was a few weeks ago. So where am I at now with it? So the next day, so yesterday was a day of processing. I don't know, I feel like I don't really have no one to talk to right now. So the only thing I can do is talk to a camera. And I might post this. I might not post this. But I'm able to talk through things, and it kind of helps me heal. So we'll see where this goes. Just gonna imagine that I have a friend in front of me that I can talk to right now. But I had to kind of look up some stuff, because I had to ask myself, when I was kind of going through some of my siblings' pages, their pages are private, and I saw pictures of my mom in them, and I was going over the past 2 years of my life, why I'm even alone, and the conclusion I came to was, me choosing myself, me just walking away from family, from everything. Because I was mentioning, the last experience I had with my mom was, I was in a real bad situation to where someone was really trying to hurt me. Did something real corrupt to take my kids and throw me in a mental institute. And then my mom told me that, she'll be there for me, she'll help me. And then once I went in there, she tried to get power of attorney over me, and then she just, right when I was in there, just pulled her hand and said, "I can't help you. I don't have room for you to come." And that was just my life with her. I would go years without hearing from her and just go through life. just kind of upset that whenever I needed her, she just was never there. And then when she would get angry with me, she would go like a year or 2 years or just out talking to me, and then she would just pop up like nothing happened. And then the reason would be, I'm the cause of it. And so I was just kind of going back and forth with, like, why do I feel guilty that the one time I finally just walk away and choose myself, fight for my kids, because I had to, because I was in a situation to where, you know, people were trying to cause me harm. Why, when the one time I finally decide to just let go, heal, choose myself, just do better, and then I actually do better. I actually let go of wanting that relationship, let go of just believing that someone would be there for me. Just, I finally let go and I be that person to myself. Why, when I finally let go, I find out that I guess my mom's been sick. And then when I found out, I tried to, like, you know, I listen to music a lot. So when my grandmother passed, that really hurt me, like, to my soul. So I played one of her favorite songs, like, by Boys to Men, a song for Mama. So I was walking, and I tried to play that song. And then I cut that song off because, and this is what really hurts, I don't really have any good feelings about her or good memories. I don't have any of that. And I felt bad for that, man. I felt really bad. Because shouldn't people, like, feel like they, like, shouldn't people feel sad when they lose someone? Shouldn't people hurt? Shouldn't people reminisce on good moments? But I didn't have that. And so then I was like, I still wasn't, like, sad. I turned the music off because I was like, I didn't want to invent things to be sad about. I wasn't happy she was gone. I wasn't. I was just like, usually isn't when you lose someone, you start thinking about the good. But I didn't have any of those to think about. Because I finally felt like I was healing from this person. You know, I was healing from the rejection. So, oh, I fucking am I crying. Anyways, let me keep going. So, last night I just kept going back and forth of, damn, was choosing myself the wrong thing to do? Was like just choosing myself, loving myself this first time I just decided to just let go. Was that like the right thing to do? Because then I was like, well, if I didn't do this and I found out this, I would have dropped everything to be there for her. But then if I did that, then how could I have done that? When everything was taken from me, my life fell apart. It's like I needed her. And not having her, I had to, like, pick myself up myself. And in not having her, I had no one. Everyone believed everyone else. So it wasn't like choosing myself was something that I just did. It was something that I was forced to do, because if I didn't, I probably would have been just, I don't know where I would have been, because I had so much against me at that time. And I feel like that was the time to where I really needed my mom. It's like that was when I really needed her. I feel like that's when I really needed everyone. It's when they turned their back. It's when I really needed them. But they decided to think the worst. So I had to go. I had to go walk away. I had to go heal. So I don't want to feel guilty for choosing myself. Because I felt like when my mom told me like I couldn't come to her because she didn't have room, she chose herself. And I had to be okay with that. I was okay with it. I kept going. So I didn't look back. Because I couldn't look back because I decided to rebuild myself. And so then I woke up today. I was going through that battle of it's like I didn't want to put that responsibility on me. And then I started realizing that was the healing. I didn't really feel regret for choosing myself. So then another sadness came. And it was that I started mourning or grieving the relationship I wish I did have. And then I realized that that sadness I went through for a long time, like how she supported my siblings. I look at all these pictures of her with them, how she supported them, how she rooted for them. And I kind of envied the relationship that they could take about her, that she was there. She didn't really turn her back, that she showed up for them. And so the pain for me was, I wish I had that. I wish I could stand by them and know her like that. And the sadness came because I felt like I don't know her. I don't know that version of her. I don't know the version of her that's a mother. So, I don't know that. So this is kind of like a little hard for me because I don't know, I kind of wish she loved me the same way at some point in her life. Because I feel like things would have been different. I would have been there. I feel like I would have been there. And so, I don't want to feel guilty for choosing myself and for loving myself and for walking away. You know? And, it's sad because I didn't really know this whole time. I feel like I've been fighting for my life, fighting to just rebuild from this situation. It's like the last memories I have of her are her working with my child's father to take my kids, her not being there when people try to like put me away somewhere. And then now I hear this. And so my pain is a lot different than what people would naturally feel for a mom. It's just the sadness of what I would have liked to have happen. The relationship that I wish I did have with her. You know. And it's also accepting that, it's also just not like kind of putting blame on myself. Because a lot of people will say that, you should have forgave. And I feel like forgiveness is the healing. I feel like the question wasn't really about if I forgave someone. forgiveness was really about the self, because of the pain I carried so long in rejection and not feeling loved. I expressed that in my life to where I attracted people who reject me and didn't do that. And I stopped loving myself because I felt like I was never good enough. So I had to forgive myself for who I became because of that rejection. Because when we're rejected or when we're not loved, it changes us. And then we treat ourselves how other people treat us. And that's what I was doing my whole life. Because I wasn't really pushed or motivated or loved correctly, I didn't push myself or motivate myself or love myself correctly. And I feel like I finally chose to do that for myself. And so sometimes when you do that and when you turn your back, you see that life goes on. You know, I don't really know. I'm just talking right now. I'm very vulnerable right now. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I want to be kind of vulnerable on this channel. I'm trying to process my thoughts right now. But, I feel like I'm not mourning or grieving my mother. I feel like I'm more sad about what could have been. I feel like, I wish I had just one moment I could hold on to. And I think the sadness is that I don't even have one. I don't have one. I remember, like, she didn't even want to hug me. Like, my whole life. She didn't want to hug me. She didn't want to hug me. I remember being a kid saying, like, why don't you ever say you love me? And then I just watch how she just loves my siblings. I watch the relationship they have. And it's like, I kind of envy. I envied it. How they have these, like, moments in these pictures. Yeah, I envied it. You know? And so now it's just like, I don't really have, like, a memory to hold on to. It's like I only have rejection. I only have every moment I cried for her. That's it. I only have every moment I needed her. I only have every moment I, like, tried to make her proud. You know, I wish I had better moments. So it's like I feel like I'm grieving a what if, you know? So, I don't want to feel guilty for choosing myself. And I won't wear that guilt. And this is the hard part of healing. Is because when you heal and when you let go, and then, you know, we have to try not to like, blame ourselves for loving ourselves. And then when people leave, you know, when I look back and I'm like, okay, well, what if I knew, and what if I went back? to go be there for her through that time while I was like fighting to rebuild my life. And I look at logically, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I wouldn't have been able to rebuild my life. I would have been trying to be there for her while rebuilding my life, while trying to restabilize after everything fell apart. I would have put literally all my energy into her at the sacrifice of me and my kids, my health, my future, and everything. And it shows kind of like, you know, like that choice I made. I just don't know. Because then I look at where I'm at now. I'm healthy. I overcame what I went through. I'm doing better. I'm feeling better. And then I look at, you know, if I would have known that was going on, I wouldn't be better. I would have put my healing on hold. I would have put rebuilding my life on hold. I would have put my kids on hold. I would have took in everyone else's problems. And it's like, that feels like such a bad thing to say when you hear that someone was battling. I don't even know what she died with. I don't know what happened. I don't know how long she was sick. I don't know what, if she was sick, I don't know what it was. But all I know is that the past 2 years, I've been fighting for my life. Healing from just not having her when I really needed her the most. And it took me a lot of time to get through that. And to just decide to like be a better mom. And then now when I like hear this, it's just like on the other end of choosing yourself, you know, your mom was sick. And then I'm just like, in my mind, I was like, honestly, if I did know, I would have, even though she rejected me, I would have been there. And I think God knows that too. I would have put my healing on hold. And I'm just being honest. I wouldn't have chosen myself if I knew. I wouldn't be here right now. I would have put being by her side and rebuilding my life on hold. So I don't know. And it's like, I'm battling some stuff right now because I'm like, yo, does this make me a bad person? That I'm kind of glad that was kind of kept for me. And I gotta be honest, it's like, I'm just like talking because I'm like just really being honest, you know? It's just like, does that make me a bad person that I didn't know this? Because in choosing myself, I actually got through what was meant to destroy me. You know? And then we realized that, you know, we can't put all that stuff on us, and that's not fair. To put so much responsibility and blame on ourselves. You know? It's not our job to do that. So yeah, man, that's kind of what I'm going through right now. Is I'm not a person that's like, oh, you weren't there for me, so I'm glad I wasn't there for you. I think that's not who I am. I feel like in her not being there for me, I chose myself and I left. And in choosing myself, life goes on. And a piece of me is super grateful that I did choose myself. And it's only because I'm where I'm at now, to where I know that if I didn't, I would still be stuck. I would still be trapped. I would still be... I would... I would be the failure she always said I was. I don't know, man. You know, I wish I had like a good memory. But it's crazy. It's like I always loved that girl. I always love her. But I'm feeling like I'm loving the potential of how she could have been towards me. I used to like envy people who just have lunch with their mom. I remember I used to just do so much stuff, like surprise her with like edible arrangements to her door, like send her stuff, just try to like be that daughter. I don't know, but she didn't want that from me. So now it's just like I feel for my siblings more right now, because just because this was my relationship, you know, they love her dearly. She was there for them. You know, that's why I gotta be like careful about the stuff I put on here, because I really love my siblings. I love them deeply. And they didn't have the experiences I had. They had an actual mother that they're grieving right now. You know, so like I wouldn't, and it's sad because I don't know, I probably wouldn't even go to a ceremony. I don't even know when it happened because I wouldn't stand in the way of their grieving because of whatever I feel. I feel like I've already grieved the relationship I wish I had a long time ago. I don't know, I feel like people will call that selfish, what I'm doing, if I don't like show up. But people already call it selfish that I just left in the first place to just heal myself and to just choose myself, because no one else was choosing me, you know? But I feel for them mainly because they lost someone who was a good mother to them. My pain isn't their pain. So I pray for their healing, you know. And I'm actually grateful that they don't have that same experience I had. I'm grateful that they got the best of her. I'm grateful that they can take that on with them, you know. So, I don't know. I really don't want to hear like projections of you weren't there, and it was just like, honestly, with what I was going through the past couple of years, I don't even know how I could have been there. I would have had to literally say, I would have to have literally gave up on myself to walk back to where I left. It's like if you leave Egypt and God is showing you to just keep walking ahead, keep going. And then you find out something like that. I would have had to literally leave and take my eye off of that and pour it in somewhere else. I don't know. I just feel like my healing was just as important, because for like 33 years before I left, I was good enough being the failure and someone that people just written off. I don't know. And it's just like, I think my battle right now with myself is like not allowing me to blame myself for not being there or knowing. I think that's what it really is. I think that's what it comes down to. It's like not really allowing myself to regret loving myself and choosing myself, man. Just don't allow myself to regret doing that. Because I don't have control over when God decides to do things. It's like I can't regret that. I can't regret, like, being here right now and helping whoever else I'm helping heal. I can't regret that. Because there's going to be many people who end up choosing themselves, and then in walking forward, they're going to realize that people's time's going to come, and then I don't want to tell anyone to just like regret healing yourself. So I got to make sure that I get through these feelings that I'm going through, and that I understand that what I did was out of love, not malice. I didn't make that choice in vain. I didn't make that choice out of cruelty. I chose love, but I chose loving me, and I have to be okay with that. I don't have one picture with my mom. I have one picture of my mom, actually. It's like I took, it's crazy. The one picture I had with my mom, I was like pregnant with my second daughter. I was in North Carolina. It's a picture of like my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my daughter. I was pregnant with my daughter Natalia, and then my daughter Nadia. It was like a 4-generation picture. And in that picture, I kept my second daughter's pregnancy like hidden. And that day, everyone found out, you know. And I kept it hidden because I just had like no support really. And that was like the first Christmas I was like really kind of invited back around the family. And then right then and there, she was like encouraging me, giving like her up for adoption. And I was actually going through that process there because I just felt like I had just no support. I should have, I was thinking about doing that, you know. But it wasn't we got you, Quiana, like, you don't have to give her up, you know, we can all help you, you have a big family. It wasn't none of that. It was like, You know, you should do it. She knew I would have regretted that choice. That was like the last picture I have that day. In that picture, it's like I look real like just sick, man. I was at a low point in my life then. And my mom was happy. In Florida, new guy, just knew everything. And anyways, I had my daughter like a month later, and I kept her. I backed out of that because I couldn't imagine just even through lack doing something like that, just going through with that. I would have regretted it because it would have been money. I would have let her go because of money, because I lacked. And it's like, in making that choice, it was like, I got so much support from like different charities. I got so much support. I got so much. It's like God, whatever I lacked family-wise, it's like God poured into me through strangers. And I kept her. And it's crazy, like she let my daughter look just like her. You know? But, yo, that's one of the best choices I made, choosing my daughter. That's one of the best choices I made, like choosing my daughter. I couldn't imagine, like, not choosing my daughter. I can't imagine not choosing her. I couldn't imagine, like, if I did give her up. I can't imagine that. Like, I can't imagine if I made that choice because I didn't have enough support. So I'm so happy I chose her. I'm so grateful that I chose her. I'm so grateful that I chose her, man. And I had her, and it was so hard. It was so hard. It was so hard. But I take care of my kids, man. I love my kids. But, that's like the last picture I have with her. It's just, I got all these memories of just not good stuff. I remember, when I was a photographer, I was, this is one of the most happiest moments, when I shot my cousin's wedding. And, it's like, she didn't stay. She had a business trip to go through in Florida. I just really wanted her to be there to just kind of see just what I could do, that I'm really good at this. And, you know, she just chose like a random work trip in Florida. But in that wedding, you know, like my family was just so proud of me. It was like they were just so proud that I accomplished that. And I just wish, like in that moment, like she was there. And it was like, as I go through this, it's just like, most people reminisce on memories, and I feel like I'm just grieving for what I wish I did have. So that's why, you know, I wouldn't go to something like that, because there's so many people there who got different sides of her. Because I'm telling you, and this is what I've learned with healing, is like, someone can be crap to you, but a blessing to someone else. So everyone else who has like better memories of her, that's a blessing that they have that. Especially my siblings. I really feel for them right now. And with them, especially like my great grandma, she loves her so much. I'm grateful. Well, I'm not grateful. I'm happy that they got the best of her, and they get to all come together. So I get to sit here with you guys and just, this is my processing. I don't know. And it's like this morning when I was like sad because just making sure like I'm not a bad person for like having these thoughts. I was like, we gotta keep going, Quiana, because I haven't really recorded in a while. I was like, we gotta keep going. We gotta keep going, Quiana. We gotta show up. Because we wouldn't be right here recording, helping others who might go through this. We won't be here if we didn't choose ourselves. So we gotta keep going, Quiana. We can't stop. But here I am, you know, I'm not really a fake person. I kind of gotta show up as I show up, and that means while life is happening, you know, but I don't know. If those of you who might say I'm a bad person for not knowing or choosing myself, just please like have compassion and just leave that off my comments. But I choose not to like blame myself or like beat myself up. If situations were different, I would have been there. I would have been there. If that relationship existed to where I felt safe, to where I could be there, I would have been there. But I feel like in a way, God knows I would have once again put myself aside for someone else. Put loving myself aside. Put accomplishing, moving forward aside for her. And I'm not going to say this was God's plan that I turned my back, but I feel like for me not to have known, I think that was for a reason. Because I can actually finally say, like, I'm really proud of myself. Like, I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for the person I've become, who I've grown to be, and the fact that I kept going even though it was alone. I'm actually like really proud of myself. And I don't want to take that from me. My mom has like 11 kids, and all 10 of her other kids were there. And I feel like that's a blessing. It made me happy to see that she wasn't alone. She was loved. She was with those who love her. And in a perfect world, I mean, the one that loved her regardless would have been there. So, I don't know, y'all. If you guys understand what I'm saying, I want to give you guys a reading. I don't know. I'm going to try. I'm going to see what comes out. I don't know. Hopefully we're close enough to where I can be this honest with you guys. I've been really honest even building this. I'm a very emotional person. So, I don't know. I told you. I'm just putting myself out there completely for this. So let's hop into something. You know, this is my mom with her mother. One of her biggest wounds was her childhood with my great-grandmother. With my grandmother. My grandmother chose herself over my mom when she was young. And that wounded my mom a lot. Especially like her inner teen. And she would always tell me how like mean she was to her, that nothing she ever did was good enough. And that cycle came again with me and my mom. That, again, nothing I do was good enough. And how we break that cycle is loving ourselves and not passing that on to our daughters. So I chose my daughters, and I chose that I was good enough even if I'm struggling, because I struggled taking care of them, you know. And so my grandmother died of cancer. And my mom, I don't know, like, if this just happened, probably the same thing. I really don't know. I haven't, like, heard anything about this. So I don't know. I feel like I'll hear it some way. But, it's like she fought so hard for, like, her mom's approval. And I could tell that she kind of projected that pain onto me. When I was like a little kid, my grandmother, her mom wanted to adopt me and named me after her, and I looked like her. And I remember, like, my mom, because my mom, like, intentionally, like, withheld from me, didn't really let me know who my dad was. She was just, like, intentionally cruel. I naturally just cried for my grandmother, because that's where I felt love. And it was kind of like, it was just some, like, competition. It's kind of like we didn't have, like, a mother-daughter relationship. It was like we were, like, two sisters. You know? And I just wish my mom knew that. I just wanted her. But what do kids do? We go to where we feel loved. You know? And, I decided not to keep allowing myself to hurt from that. Because in that hurt, I was hurting myself. That rejection, that mother wound I had was a really deep wound. I attracted abusers. I didn't apply myself. I didn't do a lot of things. And in breaking that pattern and healing that pattern, our job is to not repeat that with ourselves and with our kids. And then we think that healing that means you forgive the other person. But I realized that's not true. You can forgive someone all day, but you have to forgive yourself for who you become because of it. Because if you become someone who is not who your authentic self is because of that, then it's not just that you're inflicting the pain on someone else, you're inflicting it on yourself. So my mom became her mother to me. But it's not about her becoming that to me. She became that to herself because her heart closed with a child. If your heart closed with a child, then you did that to yourself. So if I do that to someone else, yes, you inflict it to someone else, but you really do that to yourself because you're holding on to that pain. So that's why they say the method is forgiving others. That's not the truth. The order is you forgive yourself. Because everything comes back to self. Because what wounds do, it blocks us from loving. in receiving love. And there was always like a block in my relationship with her and then with my grandmother. See, my grandmother, what her issue was she kind of neglected my mom. And she kind of wanted a do-over. So when she got with like my step-grandfather, she wanted to have another kid. And she even has like exploratory surgery to figure out why she couldn't have another kid. And when my mom had me, she then tried to she moved my mom from New York down and was real supportive. And then she wanted, I looked just like her. And then she wanted my mom to name me after her, and they wanted to adopt me. And now think about how that probably made my mom feel. For her to have been rejected by her own mother, and then her mother wants her own daughter. And then her daughter chooses or wants to be with that person, with that grandmother. Because at one point in time, like, my mom tried to like keep me away from them like really young. So a lot of I realized that my love for my grandmother was a wound too. Because she tried to heal her trauma, her neglect of my mother through having another child. And then my mom had to basically relive that pain of her being rejected and choosing someone else over her. And that birthed the resentment my mom had with me. So in healing myself, I got to really see my mom's wounds deeply. And that's why I had to forgive myself and not really forgive my mom. Because when I saw my mom just choose my other siblings, I used to almost like resent. It's not even them. I love them. I just didn't really have that heart. But I started resenting myself, thinking that I wasn't good enough, thinking that I wasn't worthy of receiving love. Because it was like my mom wanted so hard for people to think I was this horrible person. And yeah, I'm a good mom. See all my other kids? It's just this bad seed right here. And the thing is throughout all that, I would have chose her any day over anyone. And I saw that wound when my kids, my sons, my other kids' fathers, grandmothers, when they all wanted to like take my kids. I saw what my mom went through. And I didn't let them do that. And now that I think about it, my mom shouldn't have let my grandmother overpower her like that. She was supposed to heal that wound and not let her mother come between her and her daughter's relationship. But she wasn't strong enough to do that. She let her rejection wounds overpower her. And so with Mike, I make a strong choice with my kids because when I was going through this stuff, my like kids' other grandmothers were like trying to all take my kids. And even like my son's grandmother, I realized she was kind of doing what my grandmother was doing, trying to like buy my son while I was at my lowest, saying, well, I'm a better fit because I can do this. But she abused her son. It's like, y'all can't heal y'all karma through my kids. And then have my kid wanting you because you can materially provide for him while I'm in a low state. Kids should have their mothers and their grandmothers. It shouldn't be a war between where the grandmother steps in because of the mother. I get it if the mother just completely neglecting the child and the grandmother does that. But no, like my grandmother neglected my mom and then her grandmother raised her. And then she wanted to step in with my mother's kids and be that. And her doing that put a wedge between me and my mom when I was a baby. My mom resented me young. With her other kids, there wasn't really that war. Because my stepdad didn't play that. My stepdad didn't let those other kids go around my grandmother. So she didn't really have to compete with my siblings. But with me, it felt like a competition. So that's when when I was healing all these mother wounds, I let my grandmother go spiritually, because I finally had to get to the root of why my mother was even so resentful towards me. It was because she was battling my grandmother, her own mother wounds. And it trickled down to me. I should have had my mother, and I should have had my grandmother. And my grandmother should have stood in her place and not tried to live those mother dreams once she was ready to settle down through my mother's child. So I hope my mom forgives herself, because she couldn't heal that wound. And I hope she knows that, yeah, I was strong to get through the pain, but I understand if she wasn't strong enough to get through that pain. Which is why I can't hate her, because I know how hard healing was for me. I had to walk away from her so I wouldn't resent her, and so I wouldn't fail my own kids. But I don't think she was strong enough to do that. So I'm grateful that with my siblings, she didn't have to compete for that. That my siblings had a mother and a grandmother. Because they even loved my grandmother. Because my grandmother was a grandmother to them. And my mother was a mother to them. That was the right order of things. We can't use other people's blessings to heal our karma. Which is why I kept my kids away from their grandmothers who wanted to overpower me to take my kids. Because I'm not going to allow that curse to go to them, that pattern to go to them. I'm not going to allow someone to try to heal their karma through my kids. And that's where we draw the line in those type of relationships. Kids shouldn't have to choose between both. Because I didn't feel love from my mom, I always cried for my Mima. And as a child, I didn't see the battle that my mom was going through. Of her whole life, her mom not being there. And then once she had this one child, her mom wants to be there. And then her now resenting that child because of it. And then walking away and healing, I got to see the whole dynamics of the root of the pain. And so then when you see the dynamics of the root of the pain, you forgive yourself for me believing that I'm not good enough, because I always was good enough. But she was only able to love me to the extent of her wounds. And so it was never me. It was never my failure. It was never my fault. It was something that she didn't heal with her mother. And I had to understand that. Which is why I can love her. For every moment she wasn't there. For every moment she turned her back. For every moment she resented me. I don't excuse it. But I can have compassion with her. And I can grieve a what if. What if she did love me? What if she did walk away and stand up for herself? What if she made the choice that I did and walked away and chose herself and chose to love her kids? What if she chose herself like I chose myself? Would she feel the same way? Because her mom did pass. Would she feel the same way? It's just like, so it's inevitable. It's like you can't control what happens. Ugh, sorry guys, my phone died. I don't know if I'm gonna post this. We'll see if I'm brave enough to post this. I don't really care. I do care. I don't know. It's like if you say you're gonna like help people heal, you know, shouldn't you show them the actual hard stuff too, the real stuff, you know? Just tapping through these cards. These cards even matter. I don't know. So my message today was keep going, Quiana. Keep going. So keep going. Keep going. Keep going. You know, so I don't know, talking about it really helps me because I hope my mom knows that I don't resent her at all. That it's crazy. It's like I understand her way more than she thinks. I don't know. When I was focused on healing, I told you it's like you don't really blame. You just kind of have compassion for what people actually go through and why they do the things that they did. You know, I can't say that those wounds were why she did a lot of the kind of dark things that she did, but I can tell that whatever she went through to where I experienced that side of her, it was very dark, you know, and I hope that she knows is that as someone who can kind of navigate darkness, I know the power darkness can have, especially if you have unhealed wounds. That darkness looks for those types of wounds and it puts something in front of you to just keep activating it. Which is why I'm very very mature to just have compassion. You know. And pray that you know, she's at peace. And I'm just grateful that she had like all of my siblings there for her. And I'm grateful that they didn't have to compete for her. That they got to experience the best of her. You know, my mom went through a lot of things that will put a lot of people in a dark place. Starting with the rejection she felt as a child. She went through a very dark marriage. She went through a lot of things. And so, I'm no one to judge her. I just have my experience with her. So I hope she knows that I forgive her. And I made that choice out of love for myself and my children to walk away. And that was one of the best choices that I've made. Because I didn't allow, it's not her, I didn't allow darkness to consume me. And that's what it wants to do. It wants us to hate the parent. It wants us to hate the people who do things. Because it uses everyone's wounds against each other. And then we act out darkness's will. And I refuse to give it that power. It takes people who are so vulnerable and let them in. And like gives them the ammo to inflict pain onto others. And it feeds off of that. And I refuse to think bad over her because of what she did. And here's the thing. What she did is still true. That's why I talk about it. Because it's data. It's my story. It's true. It's not less true. And that's why I have to check my feelings. Do I regret what I did? And here's the thing, no. But then when you heal, the story just becomes data. this is what happened to me. And this is why, and this is what I did about it. And like I said, is from all that she went through, because we all have a story. In some way in our story, we, you know, the unhealed parts of us wound other people. You know, I am so grateful that she had, like my siblings, all there for her. And she wasn't alone. And I hope that she knows, if she cares, that I forgave her a long time ago. Which is why I decided to break the pattern. And not letting that darkness do its one job. Make me become a dark person. Make me inflict pain because I felt pain. Make me feel so justified to do it because of everything that I went through. I am grateful that I am able to stop that darkness from spreading to my kids and then to anyone else. Anyways, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Thank you guys for listening to me. I might post it because I don't know. I might not. I might. Anyways, guys. Yeah, maybe that's it. I just talked my way through this. Maybe that's it. It's not about what the person does. That's what I'm telling you. It's about ending the response of the wounds and choosing self-love. Self-love. Because when you go into the purpose of what the enemy does, the enemy wants you not to love yourself enough to where you can project it onto others, to where they're so hurt that they don't love themselves, and then it keeps going so that people can attack the self. So if you, I don't know, I'm gonna let you know one thing. If you're in a point into your life to where choosing yourself means letting go, that will come with losses. And that will come with moments to where you're like, man, should I have chose them over myself? And I want you to know not to ever feel guilty for loving yourself. Even if that means you can't be there for people when they need you. Because you needing yourself is just, if not more important. Because if you're not good, you can't keep pouring to others from an empty cup. And if I would have stopped and looked back, I would have poured from an empty cup. So, anyways, that's it. That's all I gotta say. I gotta keep going. I gotta get to work. Yeah. Anyways, stay tuned for the quantum tunneling video. That's next. Bye.